Hello everyone, welcome to this video on growing red Russian kale hydroponically Kratky style. Kale is part of the brassica family and it is believed to be very nutrient dense. Red Russian kale contains about 2 grams of protein per serving plus vitamins A, C, E, in addition to some copper and manganese. And kale is also believed to have antioxidant properties since it contains sulforaphane just as broccoli does. I usually grow red Russian kale as a microgreen, but I have been very successful growing other leafy greens using the Kratky method. These are a great addition to salads, soups, sandwiches, or to use as a garnish. But what about fully grown kale leaves? Can these grow to nice heads using the same hydroponic method I use for lettuce and other greens? Well, of course they can. Please join me on this journey from seed to harvest. Here are the seeds I use for my microgreens. This package is a pound and lasts a really long time since I use about a tablespoon per tray when I grow microgreens. I normally start my seedlings in rock wool when I grow hydroponically. If I'm growing in soil, then I start the seedlings in soil. These are 1-inch rock wool cubes and they need to be soaked and saturated with water first before using. I'm going to put the rock wool cubes into net cups in a Folgers coffee container filled with hydroponic water. I use this to mix up my hydroponic solution. It's called Grow Big from Fox Farms, and I put 2 teaspoons in a gallon of water and shake. It's so easy to mix, and it works great with my leafy green plants. I also use the Master Blend formula, but I find this easier to mix, and my leafy greens grow nicely with this solution. I'm filling up the Folgers container now with the hydroponic solution, and since I'm starting with seeds, I will need to keep the rock wool saturated with water, so I fill the container to cover the bottom of the net cup where the rock wool is going to sit. This way the rock wool will stay wet until the seed germinates and grows into a seedling, and then puts out roots to find more nutrients. Until the roots develop, I will need to keep the rock wool wet, so I make sure the bottom of the rock wool is touching the water where it can wick up the hydroponic solution. To keep the rock wool sitting stably in the net cup, and also to block out the extra light, I fill in the gaps around the rock wool with hydroponic clay pebbles. These are used in hydroponics to aid in water drainage as well as aeration for the plant. I'm not sure if they're really necessary, but I do think that they help stabilize the plant in the net cup by filling in the gaps around the rock wool. Okay, I have 4 containers set up, all of them filled with hydroponic solution, and now I'm going to plant the seeds. I'm going to just plant 1 per container since these seeds are fresh and have a very good germination rate. If you want to be safe, then plant more than 1 seed, maybe 2 or 3 in each rock wool cube, but then you will need to thin out the extra plants if more than 1 comes up. Alright, now I set these up with little baggies over each to create a sort of greenhouse for them. And now we wait. We don't have to wait long. Here are the seedlings a week later. They've started to grow nicely, although I don't see any roots yet coming out from the bottom. So I make sure to keep the water level in the containers high enough to keep the rock wool saturated. You don't want the rock wool to dry out. That will kill the little plants. Now it's 4 weeks later and I have been keeping these undergrow lights, and you can see they are starting to look less like little seedlings and more like kale. And now we are at 5 weeks and you can see the stalks are getting thicker and the leaves are getting bigger. And here we are at 6 weeks and the kale is stretching up toward the light and growing thicker and taller every day. These are T5 fluorescent lights, 6500 Kelvin, which is what I usually use to grow my leafy greens and my microgreens. At this point we can harvest the leaves, or at least some of them, and keep the others to grow longer until we want to use them. It's now a couple days later and you can see how ready the leaves are. They are a beautiful green with a reddish stalk. I don't know why I always feel compelled to look at the roots, but here they are. And now I'm ready to harvest the rest of the leaves. Yes, I cut some of this as I was growing it. If you're into kale and want to grow some to maturity, then try this method out. It is simple and quick, and by growing it indoors, you don't have the same problems you have growing outside: bad weather, insects, and other garden pests. I hope you enjoyed this video on growing kale using the hydroponic Kratky method. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comments section below this video. I would love to hear from you. And if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button, the like button, or both. And thank you for watching. Bye!